fired. Words Donald Trump made famous. Well, our next guest heard his other famous words. You're hired. Kendra Todd is here, and we're going to get the scoop on how she landed a Trump job and a very successful real estate career.
Kendra Todd was a highly successful marketing entrepreneur and real estate broker. Then, at age 26, she became the youngest competitor and first woman to win NBC's The Apprentice. She landed a job to oversee the renovations of Donald Trump's $125 million Palm Beach oceanfront estate. Today, Kendra wears many hats, including that of a television personality and host of HGTV's My House is Worth What? Kendra is an expert on how to maximize your home's value and how to achieve financial freedom by taking risks in real estate and in life.
Hey, Kendra, it is so great to have you here. So the Donald. Oh, my God. Loved you.
Quick jump in because she'll do a take on the Donald in a minute here.
Well, usually it's Barbara Streisand. She would say, "You're fired." She'd fire everyone, but now it's Donald Trump stole that from her. So, okay, you're involved in the real estate market. Yes. How scary is that? A little risky? Huh?
You know, it's scary if you make it scary. I just tell people in today's market, you just need to just turn off the news and don't get overly excited by all the daily reports, because real estate is inherently a long-term investment and it will pay off in dividends down the road.
So is your advice just sit tight?
Yes,
under the circumstances, if you can.
If you have to.
Does it depend on what you're looking at? If you're a buyer, for example. Hello.
Really great times.
Yes,
I mean,
the money.
I'm chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
You know, right now I could buy real estate like most women buy shoes.
Yes.
So
isn't that true? I mean, some of the prices out there are just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the prices. I mean, there are properties that we were selling in South Florida for $180,000 a few years ago that you can pick up for $50,000.
Wow. Are you serious?
Wow. But you have to have stellar credit. You have to have money in the bank. You have to be qualified.
Yeah.
What a novel idea. Shocking, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, talk about your show. My Home is Worth What? What are some of the surprises you've learned on that program on HGTV?
Some of the surprises I've learned, and it's actually been a big comfort for me, is that real estate truly is regional. Because even right now, with all the chaos that we're experiencing in the housing market, there are actually areas in this country that are still appreciating or that have maybe dropped in value 1 or 2%, as opposed to all the doom and gloom.
Where?
We might move.
I know, right? Well, until recently, the Pacific Northwest really, harbored the storm pretty well. Seattle, certain parts of Oregon, areas around the Rocky Mountains, Colorado. Yeah. They started to see 2 and 3% drops and started to get upset. And I'm like, well, read the national trends.
There's sometimes 20 to 40% drops.
What about the East Coast? How is that?
It really depends on where you are. I was just filming up in the Carolinas, and they've weathered the storm okay in certain parts. It's areas where they overbuilt, and there was a lot of speculative buying, and people really caught onto the greed of looking at real estate as if it were some type of stock. And buying and flipping, that's where the trouble is.
What if you're not buying right now, but you have to sell for some reason? What advice would you give people?
I wish that I could wave a magic wand and say,
kaboom, it's better.
It's all better. But, my best advice is if you really don't have to sell, try to get creative and do something like rent the property. Right now, I just moved across the country, and my home in Florida, I can't sell it. I'm one of those people, who needs this advice. Yeah, I'm caught. So I got creative, and I'm doing corporate rentals. These corporations go in, they furnish the place, they put executives in there who are there in short-term leases, and I'm covering most of my payments that way.
Isn't that the nice thing too about real estate, is that you can get creative? There are some options, and there are options to foreclosure as well, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. People need to realize that banks are there to do more than just collect your mortgage payments every month. Especially right now, they're willing to listen and they're willing to negotiate, and you don't have to go into foreclosure. A lot of people, they start to feel bad about themselves, that they gotten themselves into such financial difficulty, but really they just need to reach out and make those phone calls.
But the banks don't really help you until you're late on your mortgage, right?
There are a lot of companies out there that you can call up that will help you if you're in a credit crisis.
And especially, I think, actually opposite if you get to them early. if you get to them early and say, wouldn't you say that I'm facing some problems, will you work with me?
Yeah, actually right now they will listen. If you pick up the phone and call beforehand, under normal circumstances in the housing market, you would actually have to be behind on your payments first. But I mean, banks are collapsing, getting bought out, they're getting bailed out. I mean, these are interesting times.
You know, if you are a buyer and you're interested in looking at homes that are in foreclosure, short sales, what are some things that you should be watching out for as you're considering that?
Well, first thing I would do is look for a real estate agent who is also a savvy investor who's really got their finger on the pulse of
what's going on.
Exactly what's going on. You know, they've got the contacts at the banks. I mean, work with a professional, but it's all public record. I mean, there are incredible deals out there right now. And I mean, talk about buying 50 cents on the dollar.
You know, and that's so key
it's
too.
lining here.
Yeah, finding someone who knows what they're doing, because a lot of real estate agents, I understand, at least in this area, are losing their jobs. I mean, hundreds upon hundreds of people.
Really?
They're part of this too.
Yeah.
It's sort of survival of the fittest in a way. The people who are really skilled, who are really rooted in the community, who you know are very successful, they're going to be okay.
Do you? I just wanted to ask you your personal opinion. Do you think we're going to come out of this crisis soon, or do you think it's going to last a while?
I wish I could say I thought it was going to be over soon, but there are just some areas that are so hard hit. Arizona, California, Florida, Las Vegas, that have some real issues that we're probably not going to see a bottom for possibly 18 months or more. But then there are other areas where they've already hit bottom. And so it's hard for me to answer that with a blanket statement because it really is a regional thing. Let's just hope that, you know, President Obama's, you know, housing plan that he's come out with is going to help keep some people in homes.
That's a whole different segment that we won't get into today. But overall, you say, I think what you said before, that it's a long-term investment. I mean, this isn't like a stock that you sell the next day.
Don't
and if
flip
you
it
look
anymore.
at it that way.
And speaking of long-term investment, if you're wanting to do something to your home to give it more value, but you're limited in your funds, what are some things that people can do that are not you're not going to have to sell the children to?
I'm willing to do that.
I know.
Just no,
it's amazing what you can do with just the things that you have laying around in your garage, because most of us use our garages as storage, and you know, paint. I mean, you can paint one wall, a different color, and transform the look of a room. A couple of throw pillows. I mean, bust out the old Singer sewing machine. Ladies, get some fabrics and make some throw pillows. I mean, you really, and it can get fun, and you can get creative and tap into your, you know, your artistic talents too. But staging rooms. I mean, you can do things with lighting and you know, new window treatments that really aren't that expensive. You know, and also people don't really realize this, but if you actually do need to tackle some bigger projects where you need to swing a hammer, there are a lot of outlet stores throughout the country that Habitat for Humanity has, where you can actually get these resources for 70% off of retail. Because all of the big corporations like Lowe's and Home Depot and Sears, they donate materials to Habitat to Humanity, and they sell them and take the proceeds to build houses.
Love that.
So not only are you making a charitable concontribution, but you can get some materials at cost.
Wow. Well, it's been so fun to have you here today. You've got a book out on the market. You've got a television show. You're doing wonderfully. I mean, you are the apprentice. She's hired. The apprentice personified. Kendra has more money-saving real estate tips on her website, KendraTodd.com. You want to take a look at that. It'll help you in the changing times that we're living in. Thank you. It was great fun to have you here. Thanks.
And up next, find out how you can reshape and renew from the inside out, giving you a fresh lease on life.